Hello. This week sees the publication of one of the most remarkable and revealing accounts ever of the life of a major pop star. The Life and Times of Little Richard, the Quasar of Rock, by Charles White. In a string of hit records, including Lucille, Tutti Frutti and Long Tall Sally, made between 1955 and 1957, Little Richard pioneered a brand of rock and roll based on the black dance music of the southeastern states of America that became enormously popular. It influenced his contemporaries, the stars of the 60s, including the Beatles, and it's still felt in the pop music of today. Richard's style and energy as a performer were as influential as his music. He dressed in outlandish costumes, wore makeup, jewellery and exotic hairstyles. His flair for showmanship has frequently been copied but never equalled. Richard's career is also a pattern for subsequent pop stars. It had the spectacular rise to stardom from poverty, a heady mixture of sex, drugs and rock and roll, and a conversion to religion. In Richard's case, not once, but twice. He finally gave up rock music in 1976, and since then he's worked as an evangelist. David Hinton's film was shot in Los Angeles and begins at the church of another former rock and roll singer, Johnny Otis.
It was in Houston, Texas, 1950, and as I had lunch, I could hear some music. So I walked in. I saw a man sitting at the piano, and he had this pompadour way up in there. And he had this beautiful jewelry on, and he had this sensational robe on. It would have done Queen Victoria justice. And I said, look in here. But I thought to myself, anybody that has all those props, you know, probably is going to try to blind us with footwork. Probably don't have much talent. But oh, was I wrong. He saw Aunt Mary coming and he ducked back in the alley. Yes, baby. Ooh, baby. Stop on the line. He got up and rocked that house to death. I'd never seen anything like it in my life. I headed followed him to the sock hot ball. The dogs really jumping, the cats are going wild. The music really set my teeth to play the style. I'm ready. I'm ready. To rock and roll. I saw him eat up America and go to Europe and tear it to smithereens. The king of rock and roll. Now he's a child of the king. Let's welcome and receive the one and only, my dear friend and your favorite man, Brother Little Richard. Come on.
I didn't come here to preach. I came here just to talk to you. And I'm not that type of preacher. You know, I know you probably figured that I was going to start moaning and groaning. My granddad used to do that and kill me when he get to the house. My granddaddy would get down Sunday morning. Sister said, go on and tell it, preacher. Whoa. Said, go on and tell it. Said, ma. Said, go on and tell it. Hey, hey. Said, go on and preach it. And so, my, so tell it. So, whoa, tell it. Hey, tell it. Woo, tell it. He ain't told him nothing yet. She been hollering, go and tell it for 20 years. She see he don't know it. If he hadn't known it, he would have told her about now. And some people say that you can't preach if you don't do that, you know. If you don't growl and do all that, they say, oh, he can't preach. And the preacher up there, one of them was up there, and he was leaping all around, a little black preacher. He was leaping all around, And he was just hollering, and he said, and I saw him, and I went over there, and as he moved on over yonder, I cut something out, and at the Jordan River, I saw him. I thought he had the hiccup. See, I can do it if I want to do it. I know how to do it. I was raised with it.
Richard was born Richard Penniman in Macon, Georgia in 1932. He was the third of 13 children.
My daddy put me out. He said he wanted 7 boys and I was messing it up because I was gay. He put me out. He told me I had to do what he wanted me to say do or else get out. And so I didn't do what he said. I got out.
When Richard was 19, his father, Bud, was shot dead in the bar that he owned.
We never did find out the truth about my dad's death. We don't know why he died. My mother didn't have the money to check into it. My best friend killed him. But it's really it was really amazing, but we never did know the truth behind it because it was a hush-hush. They let the boy out of jail. He was out of jail, I think, in a week.
Where did you get there before? What do you do?
When I was a little boy, you would hear black people singing all over the neighborhood, singing spirituals, you know, like nobody knows the trouble I see. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. And you would hear a black person way over here singing a song. Then you hear another black person way over here singing a song. You hear another black person way over there singing a song. And they all sound like they was in unison. You know, it was just everybody harmonizing like they was meant to sing this song when I was a little boy. And then late at night, I would run down the street singing a song called Hitch the Wagon and Pull the Line. I would do that late at night at 12 o'clock, and everybody wanted to kill me in the neighborhood. So finally, one day, a guy came through named Dr. Hudson and wanted me to join a medicine show. I didn't know nothing about no medicine show, so I went and got on this little show, and he was selling snake oil. Have you ever seen any snake oil? It's oil that's supposed to be good for everything. He was lying. It wasn't good for nothing, really. It was $1 a bottle. And I was singing a song on the stage, me and a guy by the name of James. He played the piano. And I was singing Louis Jordan's old song, Caledonia, What Make Your Head So Hard. I sung that song every night because I didn't know no other song but that song. And I went from there to Belglades, Florida with B. Brown and his orchestra. And I became their vocalist. And they was calling me Prince Laverne. So B. Brown changed my name to Little Richard. Thank you so much, B. Brown, because I didn't have no business being called Prince Laverne. I am not a princess. I am Little Richard. Thank you.
Well, I heard the news, there's good rockin' tonight.
In the early 50s, Richard began to work in the thriving black clubs and theatres of Atlanta's Auburn Avenue. He performed in variety shows with dancers, comics, and some of the great rhythm and blues singers like Roy Brown.
Oh, yes, I heard the news, there's good rockin' tonight.
Chuck Berry was playing blues. You know, because blues was in, you know, dun-dun-dun-dun. That's every blues singer in the country was doing that. And I got tired of dun-dun-dun-dun. And Willie Mayburn and Percy Mayfield, you know, Please Send Me Someone to Love, Jimmy Liggins, the Honey Dripper, Roy Milton, and all those people, you know. And then here I came out of left field with the high pompadour and with all this makeup on, and it was really something. I created rock and roll. Didn't even know what I was doing.
Miss Saru, you're now finna hear Little Richard and his Upsetters. And at this time, I'm going to do my recording of Baby on the other side, which is one that I've made, and I hope that you like it too. All right, boys, get Baby Upsetters.
Early in 1955, Richard sent a demo tape to Art Roop, the owner of Specialty Records, a gospel and rhythm and blues label. Robert Bumps Blackwell, Specialty's musical director, decided he was worth recording and set up a session in New Orleans.
Come on closer, Bumps. Put your arms around me. You know, he's the first one to record me. I recorded before I got to him, but he's the first one got a hit. And he haven't hit since, and I haven't either.
I recorded 6 or 7 numbers on Richard. Baby, numbers like Kansas City, what else? Directly from my heart to you. Well, so what? It didn't mean anything. It was just a great singer singing a good song. So what? Well, I just stopped the session because we were getting no place fast. We just were not getting anywhere. And when we went into the Dewdrop Inn, there was a piano, all of the boosters, rounders, pimps, whores, and everything else was hanging around, and Richard had an audience, and there was a piano, and that was when I began to know and understand Richard. Because that's all you got to do is give Richard an audience, turn the lights on, and the show is on. So Richard, if you saw that piano, ran, jumped on it, and hit that few strains of Tutti Frutti, which was very blue or gross. It was completely taboo. We couldn't have put it on the air. So what I did was have a girl that was a prolific writer. Her name was Dorothy Labostri, so I called her. I told her this was her chance. And Richard didn't want to sing the song because it was dirty. So I asked him, did he have a grudge against making money? He said, no. I said, good. So I turned his back to the wall, his face to the wall, and his back to her, and her face to the wall, and had him sing the song and had her listen. And then she said she had it, sent her off to write the words. We went back to the studio. We had 15 minutes before they were putting us out of this furniture store. That's where we were recording, in the back of a furniture store on Rampart Street. And she came in with those little lyrics of Tutti Frutti All Ruti, and a girl named Sue and a girl named Daisy. Put Richard on the piano, and in 15 minutes, I think we cut 2 or 3 cuts, and it's been history ever since.
And when I did this wah bop-a-loo bop-a-lop bam boom, it was just different. It was different to me. I never heard nobody do that. I used to do it on the stage in Macon, but I never heard it before. I did it because, to me, I was doing a drum beat with my voice.
Tutti Frutti was released in October 1955 and rapidly became a national hit. As frequently happened at the time, white singers produced cover versions of the black artist's success.
Tutti Frutti, oh Rudy.
Bop bop a loo mop a lop bop bop Tutti Frutti, oh Rudy. Tutti Frutti, oh Rudy.
At first, I was very disgusted because I was just coming on the scene, and all the white girls were screaming over me, and the system didn't like it, you know. And they threw Pat Boone, they threw Elvis on me first on television. He did Tutti Frutti on television. Then Pat Boone covered it. And after he covered my song, he sold more than I did of Tutti Frutti. And the white family said that I was rockers, I was demonic, I was demon-possessed, whatever you would say. I was awful. I was not supposed to be the hero for their kids. They wanted a white image up for their kids, you know, with the buck shoes, white buck shoes on. So here comes Pat Boone from Tennessee, you know, like he was a straight sent from yonder place, which is not true. And he came out singing a white version of Tutti Frutti, which was not as good as mine to me personally. It was not the same, and a lot of white kids felt the same way over the world. They would buy Pat Boone's and put it up on the table and put mine under the table. We were in the same house, but different locations.
When we went out on performances, it was like 90 to 95% white audience. He had a beat and he had a rhythm that fit and grooved right with the white market, that the white market could conceive, and they're still using it.
The first black artist to go top 40, at that time that's what you called it, to break the racial barrier, that's what I should say. Because when I came on the scene, black records was played for black people only. White kids were slipping listening to them, but it was played for that only. Left at the next corner, but it was really, really something. But it was just something about my personality. The white kids liked me. You know, always when I was a little boy, white kids liked to play with me. They loved me. You know, I couldn't understand it. You know, and neither could the black kids, because they used to get mad with me. That's my house right there on the left where I used to live. That's the first house I ever bought right there. If anybody here think we're going to break in, this neighborhood was nothing but mansions, you know. It was the neighborhood. I enjoyed it because my brothers and sisters, you know, they was poor, and I had moved them from Macon, Georgia here. And this is the first time they had a chance to live in a house like this. You know, in Macon, they had homes like this, but only white people lived in them. And for them to have an opportunity to live in a home like this with a limo in the driveway that was theirs, that I bought them, with cars that was theirs, and with gardeners and stuff. You know, it was just beautiful. It was a joy that I was able to do that. I felt good that I was able to give them something that I never had before. I think the same lady still lived next door over there that was living there when I had my monkey, Tutti Frutti. Yeah, he used to raise so much sand up in this neighborhood. He was biting everything.
Richard was originally brought to Hollywood by Specialty Records. He became their biggest selling artist with an unbroken series of hits, but he saw little of the profits.
If you spoke for your money, you was a troublemaker. If you spoke for things you should have received, you was a troublemaker. But if you just went along with the program and didn't say nothing, you was a good boy. Never a man, a good boy. Right at the light. That's it. You know, so I was always considered a bad guy. The record company is not paying me my royalties, and the publishing company is not paying me my royalties. I had to work all the time. I could never rest like the rest of the artists. You know, I had to work to keep money coming in. You know, I had to feed my mother and all my brothers and sisters, send them to school. You know, and so I couldn't sit down. I had to work. The pressure was so heavy, sometimes I felt like I was going to go kooky. In fact, some people think I'm kooky before I went kooky.
A frequent companion of Richard's on his 50s tours was his girlfriend, Lee Angel.
It was a lot of fun. I am of black descent, and being black in the late 50s, there was no place to eat food. You had a lot of greasy spoons, but there was no decent restaurants, and by looking white, they used to talk me into, they'd park around the corner and talk me into going into a white place to get food for them. Can you imagine walking out with 50 hamburgers?
Oh, they should just keep Lee and take Angel off. Oh, she is a whooper. She's a wonderful girl. You know, she's beautiful. She's loving, she's kind. But Angel is a girl, she just enjoys sex, and everybody does. You know, I don't know what everybody's screaming about. Everybody likes to jack up, masturbate. Everybody loves to. Everybody likes to go to orgies. Everybody. Some people wish they never had to leave. You know, I don't know why everybody says, oh.
Richard's fantasies are the greatest on earth. I believe that if he'd have been a screenwriter, he would have at least 9,988 films that would be extreme hits now.
I just enjoyed sex in its entirety. Sex to me was like a smorgasbord. You should just go and pick whatever you want. If you wanted it, get it all. That's what I did. That's what sex was to me. At this age and stage, you know, I've released it all. You know, I've given my life to God, and I'm an evangelist now, and I live for God, and I love God, and I'm dedicated to His service. But in those days, I just loved whatever came. You know, I didn't refuse nothing. If you knocked on my door and I wanted more, for sure, it was there. Because I enjoyed sex, you know. And I think, you know, gay people are so artistic, they're so loving, they're so kind, and they've been so discriminated against, too. You know, people got to remember that God, Jesus died for the gay people, you know. He lives for them today. He came out of the grave for them, and they have a right to the tree of life just like anyone else.
Well, Richard's not a homosexual. Not to my knowledge. Richard enjoyed watching people.
I didn't know the truth about God. Because that's the reason I had all these orgies going on, because, you know, I would get up off an orgy and go and pick up my Bible, you know. In fact, sometimes I have my Bible laying right there by me.
Would I say he's very vain now? Would you say that anyone that says, I am America, I am the 20th century, is vain? Look how beautiful and smooth my skin is at 56. I take a look at my chest, and boy, it's better looking than people and friends of mine that... No, he's not vain.
Richard, do you have like a favorite side?
Yes, this is my favorite side.
Okay, so we'll favorite that with the light. Let me move
Well, this is my small side. The other side is my big side. My big eye. My
Come over
little
here.
eye.
Sit here.
Over there.
You want to be warm too.
Oh, okay. Oh, me. Watch this. Thank you. This is my little side. And this is my big side. I like both of them.
Keep them both.
I like both of my sides. A big one and a little one. Most people are not gifted to have two. Do you, in England, do you all have big sides and little sides?
Best sides.
I do. Thank you. But they call me the China doll. And Mother, she said, oh, Richard, your skin is so pretty. She said I was beautiful. You know, she said and so if she felt that I was beautiful, I didn't care what nobody else thought. As long as Mother said I was beautiful. Feature my eyes.
Great. Well, that's what we're going to...
Yes,
that's nice.
I'm known that some people don't call me Little Richard, they call me Eyes.
Okay, very sweet, very sexy.
Oh, that's going to be good. Your eyes may shine, your teeth may grit, but none of my songs you will get.
Yes, Richard.
It was quite popular in those days for men to wear their hair like that, real high in the top, but I just put mine a few inches higher than everybody else. They used to call these hairdos within the black race conch process. I got it from Billy Wright in Atlanta, Georgia. He was a famous blues singer. He wore the pancake makeup, which was Pancake 31, and he wore the eyebrow pencil. And so I just took it a step farther than any man had ever taken it. It was very gorgeous, beautiful, very beautiful thing to do. In fact, I was one of the few men that I knew that wore makeup at the time and wasn't afraid and didn't care what anybody said. And to some entertainers, I was a big threat. They thought I was loony. They thought I was the bitter end, and some people thought I was the beginning, which I thought that myself, and which I was, of rock and roll anyway.
Great. You guys, good. You're back at me.
Oh, I didn't mean to make that one.
Can you send me your kisses? I still feel that love.
My name is Tom Schnabel, and I'm here with Roger Steffens, as well as Charles White, who is the author of a brand new book called Little Richard, the Quasar of Rock, and none other than Little Richard, the man that started everything off.
Welcome to KCRW, Richard.
Oh, I'm so glad to be here. I'm just speechless. I got to just get, woo! I'm here now.
All right. Now listen, do we call you Little or do we call you Richard?
Oh, whatever is suitable and fitting.
You know what? I've waited 30 years to throw my arms around you and tell you what you think.
Oh, and I enjoyed every moment of it. I was waiting.
But, you know, my first impression You're not little at all.
Oh, no.
I don't mean you're overweight, but I mean you're
no,
a
I'm
tall
not.
person.
Everything is big, I must admit.
Little is the wrong word to describe
No.
Richard.
It's big. Big is the word.
Well, let's talk about your early days. Who were your influences?
Mahalia Jackson.
Mahalia.
I always liked women singers. You know, I like the way the ladies sing. The men, I didn't like. I like that better. You know, I wanted to be like that. You know, sing high. And so, Mahalia Jackson and Clara Ward singers, Sister Rosetta Tharpe, Ruth Brown, and Roy Brown, and Fats Domino, because at the time he was playing blues every night about this time, Going Home Tomorrow, and stuff like that. And I loved the way he played the piano, you know. Although I was taught how to play piano by Escarita and a fellow by the name of James.
So the influence of Escarita on Little Richard, or vice versa, is really there. It's
Yeah, the
definite.
piano.
Tell me about
it's
him,
strange.
because a lot of people compare you
It's
to
strange, Roger. He was inspired by me to be in show business, but I was inspired by him because when I first met him at the bus station. One night I couldn't sleep in my hometown. I would sit there all night and watch people get off the bus. You understand. And everybody's going, and he got off. I said, oh boy. He taught me how to play piano.
Right.
And it's and I just love it. I said, oh boy, if I could just do that, not knowing that one day I'll be doing it, you know.
Lucille? Was there really a
Oh,
Lucille?
yes, she lived right down the corner.
What was she like?
Who was she? She wouldn't do her sister's will.
What does that mean? I've wanted for 30 years to ask you what that was.
Well, her sister wanted to go, and we wanted Momo.
And she wanted to
said,
stay.
no.
That Little Richard really rocks. If
We
it
both
rocks,
share a great love for
Thank you.
one man in person, in
Alan
particular
Freed.
Alan Freed, who was like my god.
I think
growing
everybody
up.
loved
Yeah.
Alan Freed.
Yeah.
He was the first guy ever gave me any money.
Is that right?
I remember I was appearing at Paramount Theater, and we had this beautiful orgy going. It was a fantastic orgy, one of the best ones I've been to in a minute. And in the middle of this orgy that was fantastic, somebody knocked on my door. I said, oh, just a moment, an orgy. And they said, hold it. No, I didn't say that. I'm sorry, I didn't say that way. But, and I opened the door, and Alan Freed came in with a handful of $100 bills like this.
Wow.
He says, Richard, he says, your agent booked you here, and he says, you make a lot of money like you should have. Although I was getting thousands, but he says, take this. He said, you're terrific. I just love Alan Freed. He's a terrific guy. You know, he didn't care whether you was black, blue, green, yellow, or gold. If you had it, you had it.
If it was in the grooves, he would play it, whether there was a $100 bill
That's
stuck in
right.
the record or
That's
not.
right.
And if it was
I
a
never
lousy
seen
record,
nobody give him no $100 bills. In fact, to me, we didn't give him nothing. He played mine. You understand? All he got from me was, woo! and he played it.
Now, you were in several of his movies.
Most everyone.
What were those experiences like, Richard?
Oh, beautiful! It was just terrific. You know, cause you got to remember that the first movie that I ever done, I always wanted to be a movie star in my hometown, and I felt that I was when I was moving from the city to city, a moving star. But I never knew that I would, you know, star in a movie. And Alan Freed gave me an opportunity because, to me, the first videos was made at that time. Because to me, The Girl Can't Help It was a video.
She got it. Oh, baby, she got it. Oh, baby, she got it. I can't do without her. Love to sing, hot one queen. She's real gone in everything. She got it. Oh, baby, she got it. Oh, baby, she got it. I can't do without her.
After 2 years of stardom, the pressures became too much for Richard. On a tour of Australia, he announced he was quitting rock and roll.
You were in the stadium in Australia. Sputnik
Yes.
passing overhead.
That's right.
You see the little light. This is 1957?
Yes. This big light came over the stadium, and it was frightening to me. And I told Clifford and Graydon, Nash, and all of them that I said, I'm coming out of this business because I've always heard from a little boy that the world was going to end, and it was frightening. You know, this big ball of fire going over the stadium, and so we got on the ferry going across to another town in Australia, and I said, well, if you don't believe that I'm going to stop, I'm going to throw my diamonds in the ocean. I had on all these big diamond rings, and so I threw them in the ocean, although I wished I could swim back over there to and get my rings. Whatever fish got them, release my rings, please. So I threw them over there, and so I've been out of the business. I went back to Oakwood College in Huntsville, Alabama.
Now, that was a Bible school, wasn't
it?
Yes. How did the Bible students react to the flamboyant Little Richard?
Oh, they was peeping out of the corner of their eyes at me because I didn't hold back nothing. You know, I went there with my hands in the air and had one eyelash over here and the other one down over here.
And pink Cadillacs?
I had pink Cadillac. I have a lavender.
A lot of colors.
Prince, I had a purple Cadillac before you was born, baby. Prince loved me, and I love Prince. He is me in this generation. Prince, you're sweet, baby. When I was wearing all this stuff, everybody wanted to chop my head off, you know. And now you can wear whatever you want, and don't nobody say nothing. Why you ought to let me do that back in my day?
I don't think they
I
stopped you.
wore it anyway.
I don't think they stopped you.
They did. And I kept
Well, let's hear Good Golly Miss Molly from those golden days of rock and roll and come back and talk a little more about the behind-the-scenes story. Here's
Thank
Little
you,
Richard.
Alan Freed Rogers.
It takes your time and your means and your prayers to let you fall. It takes everything to serve my love.
After his retirement in 1957, Richard devoted his life to evangelism and performing gospel music. But in 1962, on a tour of England, he was persuaded to sing rock and roll again, alongside a new generation of British beat groups.
Well, let's take it out of the 50s now to the early 60s. When did you meet the Beatles? Was that in Germany?
In Liverpool.
In Liverpool.
Brian Epstein brought me to a ballroom in Liverpool.
What year are we talking about?
Oh my God! It was 62.
62.
62.
Oh, it's before they really broke?
Yes.
That's right.
Oh, they had never made a record. Didn't nobody know them but their mothers.
Wow.
They was only known by their mother. Am I right, Paul? Your mama know you, and your daddy, and your cousins. George, Ringo, John, and Mick. You know I'm telling the truth. Keith, I'm telling you. Didn't nobody know Keith and Mick either, but their families. Mick Jagger was opening my show.
That's right.
He was the Rolling Stone. He was opening the show, sleeping on the floor in Bo Diddley's room because my room was full as always. I had nowhere to walk because I was saying, next, next. It was really something, you know. So when he brought me there, the Beatles never met a famous person before, and Brian Epstein said, Richard say, they want to just touch you. So Paul grabbed my hand and he rubbed my shoulders. John got my finger, and George got my finger, and Paul got my arm.
And they made a wish.
They all dance around
They
you.
were just pulling back, and I said, pull me. And they were just pulling me, and so they made this picture. And so they went on the stage and sung a song called Love, Love Me Do, You Know I Love You. You remember that? They sung that and tore the house up. So they went with me to Hamburg, Germany, to the Star Club. And it was Gary and the Pacemakers and the Swinging Blue Jeans. Let me show this up to the audience. Look at there. Those are the fellas that, look at my fingers.
They're kneeling around, Richard.
They're pulling my fingers.
They're kneeling down.
And they're grabbing my shoulders. Isn't
Well,
that beautiful?
Well, it's a start.
And they're holding my arms. Isn't that wonderful?
Richard, did you really teach Paul how to do that yell?
Yes, I did.
What did you do for him? How did you
he
do
was
it?
standing in the wing of the stage, and I was saying, woo! He said, woo! I said, woo! He said, woo! I said, woo! He said, woo!
He learned it all right. He learned it in the end, Richard.
All right, now let me ask you what Mick Jagger learned from you that you think he learned from you, Richard.
How to walk.
That's
You know, I'm
the
telling you the
secret.
truth, Mick.
That's right. I was there when
If you
Richard
agree with that,
performed
Mick, I'll put back
Jagger,
on my glasses. Okay.
Do you think God intended you to have two careers? Because you seem to have lived at the two extremes. The Bible in one hand and as a rock and roll paragon in the other.
I don't know what that means, but I was there.
No, the paragon part's good.
The highest.
Thank you.
The role model, the penultimate.
Thank you. Thank
The
you.
king of rock and roll.
Thank you, Doc. Thank you, Roger. Thank you. Thank you,
Now,
Doc.
listen, I believe you're the only person who ever claimed to be both the king and the queen of rock and roll.
They said that I was, and I wouldn't refuse them not one title. Don't you like to hear your name? Even when you're at home in the bed, you like to hear somebody say, Johnny. Mary, you know, you want to hear your name, although you ain't doing a thing, you know. But you just want to hear your name. Make you think you've done something, you think about you used to do something. You know, I don't play rock and roll anymore. At all. But we could just, we could clap our hands and, with just a rhythm, which is not rock and roll, it's a joyful sound that we use at the church.
That in the year of rock and superstars, King Richard returned from exile to claim his throne. And from around the world the cry was,
Good God, Miss Molly, go and tell everybody, every Johnny, Joe, and Jack, that the king is back. We're gonna...
In 1964, Richard relaunched his career in America. He could always attract audiences to his outrageous concerts, but the record business had changed. The young white rock groups he'd inspired, like the Beatles and the Stones, had dethroned him. He released several fine soul records as well as rock and roll, but he was unable to get new hits.
I started asking about my money, and they stopped pushing my records. As long as I wasn't getting paid, they played them. As soon as I wanted my money, they stopped playing them because they didn't want to pay me. That's the way it went. That's the way it was.
Richard kept up a frenzied work rate with sets based on his old hits. In the late 60s and early 70s, his appearances veered from big hippie festivals to Las Vegas lounge rooms to middle-of-the-road television shows.
Play it again, Sam.
Play what again?
Well, anything's got to be an improvement on these two.
You must remember this. A kiss is still a kiss. A sigh is just a sigh. The fundamental things apply as time goes by.
I was in London and I was watching a Tom Jones show, and I saw the loneliest man I'd ever seen in my life. I guess when someone told him that I was looking for him and he reached me, I flew to Los Angeles for the first time. And at the airport, 12 o'clock in the afternoon, LAX, 17 crazy-looking guys got out of a limousine, and Richard got out with this red and gold back-wing outfit and his pompadour and his makeup, yelling, "Shut up!" He was into drugs at that time. He just wasn't the person I knew anymore.
Let it all hang out with the beautiful little Richard from down in Macon, Georgia. I want you all to know that I am the king of rock and roll. Let all the women folks say, woo! Let all the men say, oh! Oh, my soul. We're going to do a little thing for you. Along about 10, I'm flying high. Rock on down to the sky. Don't care if it's been the goal. Not going to be one. And so I'm going to rock it up. Woo! Rip it up, baby. Gonna shake it up. Gonna ball it up. I'm going to rock it up. And for tonight,
He was drinking, he was doing drugs, he was smoking, which is funny. In the beginning, Richard didn't do anything. He did not believe in anyone doing these things. He had me try PCP for the first time. And it just...
I didn't stick around much after that. When I became aware of it, because I always never went beyond the green door. I always allowed him his privacy. And I ran a very clean ship all through the 50s and the 60s. And it was between 73 and 74 when I felt that I didn't want to be a part of it, when they were coming to my room asking, and he was sending them there for money that I couldn't account for where it was going. And I knew where it was going, and I couldn't account for it. So I dismissed myself.
Cocaine is something, it was something else, and it still is something else. You know, it had me, and it can get you. That white sugar, I call it the white lion. He would run you out of the jungle. I tell you, I just couldn't do without it. I had so much of it that you could just call me Little Coke instead of Little Richard. I had so much cocaine, everywhere you looked in my room, I had it hid everywhere. Everybody stayed in my room all the time because I had the coke. And if you keep cocaine, you're going to have company all the time. And even when I didn't have the cash on me, the man said, take 3 ounces. I went to a guy's house the other night. He said, Richard, take 2 ounces. I haven't seen you in a long time. Forgive. I said, I don't do it no more. He said, you don't do it no more, man. He wanted me to do it bad. Because, you know, he figured you can get money. You know, he really wanted you to do it. You know, he didn't want Johnny to do it because Johnny ain't got nothing. He been there begging, trying to get some. Done left his shoes over there. Done left his clock. Don't even know what time it is. Plus, Johnny don't never go to sleep nohow. Johnny stay wide up all the time. Poor Johnny. And so the Lord showed me something. One night I was appearing in Magic Mountains, and a young guy called me. It's cocaine, 21 years old, and a guy shot him in the head. Another friend of mine was coming out of an apartment building. Some boys took him and cut him up with a butcher knife. Ike and Tina had an engagement in Miami, Florida at the Americana Hotel. Tina got sick and couldn't go, and I went in her place. My brother Tony said, Richard, I want to borrow some money. I said, Tony, when I get back, I'll let you have it. When I got back, instead of going with Tony, I met a man. And I went to the hotel with him. And we went to the hotel to have a party. The next morning, somebody pushed a note up under my door, said, your brother's dead. He got up and watered his lawn and walked his little boy and fell dead. My brother, he was 33 years old, had a massive heart attack. I said, but God is trying to tell me something. I said, God is talking to me through my brother's death and all of my friends that died right on the road. I said, God is trying to show me something. And I opened my Bible to Mark 8:36 and 37, where the Bible said, for what shall it profit a man if he should gain the whole world and lose his own soul? Or what shall a man give God in exchange for his soul? I want to tell you that everybody is basing today. Everybody you see is getting high. Nobody is trying Jesus. Nobody want to get high on God. You can get high on Jesus. Do that for me, Bill. Do it for me, Bill. In the name he brought a little joy. He told me I was the baby boy. He said that he would never leave. Lord, have mercy on me. In the name, he called me on the telephone. He said, little Richard, I'm coming home. He said that he would never leave. Oh, Lord, have mercy on me. In the name, he brought me a little joy. He said that I was the baby boy. I remember this really in Vegas. Yes. He said that he would never leave me. Oh, Lord, have mercy on poor me. Oh, yes. In the name, he called me on the telephone. He said, little Richard, I'm coming home. He said that he would never leave. I'm an evangelist now, you know, and I feel high all the time, but I don't take anything, water, really. I stopped drinking, I stopped smoking marijuana, I stopped taking PCP, cocaine, heroin, and acid, and all types of barbiturates, and alcohol. I just let it all go. Because one night I was appearing in Los Angeles, and a friend of mine got killed. And then my brother died, and so it just changed my life. Then after mother died, it really put a lock on it, you know. I just don't have a desire. I think that my days should be spent now at the age of 52 spreading the gospel, you know, of God, letting people know that there is a God. And regardless of what church you go to, that you got to believe him, what he truly says, and keep his 10 commandments, you know, which are binding in all generation, which is good from Genesis to Revelation, the Bible. And I believe that the 10 Commandments is the whole thing in a nutshell. That's what way I should put it. I think that we all should live by the 10 Commandments. I think that all preachers should teach people about the God's 10 Commandments, that they are bound in everlasting. And so that's what I'm doing now, teaching the commandments and trying to live as close to God as possible. I haven't made it yet, but I'm striving. I have a lot of hills to climb, but I'm climbing. And I just thank God for Jesus Christ. I thank God that he called me from rock and roll to the rock of ages. And the only rock I got now is the rock, Christ Jesus. And the only roll I got is a roll of glory. My name is written there on the pages bright and fair. And thank God for Dr. Rock coming over from England and writing a book on my life. And after Mother's death and this resurgency of my fame, which I thank God for because it was really needed, you know, it made me feel alive again. You know, you feel like you're wanted and you feel like you're needed, and that's important, you know. And it really did something for me. You know, when you ride down the streets now, the little kids say, Little Richard, I was dead. I'm a legend, but these kids didn't know me. And Jesus stood in front of that tomb and says, come forth, Little Richard. And I walked out of that tomb. He resurrected my life again and resurrected my name. Didn't no record do it. Jesus did it. Honey, I don't know what you got. Baby, I don't know what you got. Read this book and to see how music started and the contribution that has been made to the world by black people, because I am black.
I gave you all the money I had in the bank. Not one time, not one time did you say thanks. But baby,
well, you all know it's too late now, baby.
I don't know what you got. Honey, I think I don't know what you got. Sometimes it makes me cry. I don't know what you got. I feel sometimes like I want to die. Oh, baby.
Thank you, Keith. God bless you, brother. Thank you so much. Thank you all. That was done right here on Martin Luther King's Boulevard in Los Angeles. I was talking to some of my young fans that don't know me that much, but they've heard about me, and they had a good time. Let's hear it, fans. Come, let's hear it. That's it. Beautiful. Thank you all so much.